Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So, next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quirecura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon, but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. Believe it or not, colorblind people live full, vibrant lives. Colorblindness is a condition where some people have difficulty distinguishing certain colors, with red and green being the most common. However, people with colorblindness have adapted by using patterns, memory, and modern technology, such as color filters for screens and specialized glasses. These innovations help colorblind individuals lead full lives and express themselves uniquely. Despite the challenges, colorblind people overcome these obstacles with resilience and creativity, proving that life is as vibrant as they make it. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat on a 6-day journey from South Africa. Incredible but true. The Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are! Large eyes, but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves. And on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. It's hard to believe, but it rains diamonds on Saturn. Researchers believe that lightning storms in Saturn's atmosphere turn methane into carbon, which then crystallizes into diamonds. These diamond drops can reach several centimeters in size and, as they fall from great heights, turn into graphite. Thus, on Saturn, you can witness a rain of precious stones. At such depths and under high pressure, they turn back into carbon. But the very idea of this phenomenon is breathtaking. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies, with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. Believe it or not, polar bears have black skin under their white fur. A polar bear's fur may look white, but underneath its skin is actually black. This isn't just a natural curiosity. It's an important adaptation that helps polar bears absorb more heat from the sun and stay warm in the icy Arctic climate. It's like wearing a natural solar-powered suit that helps them survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart. They are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains. 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation: they can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. How did the term honeymoon originate? And what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking. And the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Hard to believe, but there's no letter A in numbers from 1 to 1,000. It's true. If you start counting from 1 to 999, you won't find the letter A in any of the numbers. The letter A only appears in the word 1,000. This fun observation shows just how unique the English language is and how unexpected patterns can be hidden within it. Sometimes these small details make us look at familiar things in a new way. Did you know that laughter is good for your heart? Laughter is not just a way to lift your mood, but also a great way to keep your heart healthy. Scientists have proven that laughter improves circulation, helps blood vessels expand, and reduces stress levels. It's like a natural medicine that helps your heart work better and longer. So next time you laugh, remember, you're not just improving your mood, but also giving your heart a great gift. Laughter really is the best medicine. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes, bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Can you imagine sharks that walk on the ocean floor? Yes, there are sharks that literally walk on the seafloor. These amazing creatures are known as epaulette sharks and belong to the genus Hemicillium. They use their fins like legs, moving across the ocean floor in search of food. This ability allows them to hunt even in the shallowest areas of reefs, where swimming would be difficult. Their unique adaptation makes them true walking sharks among their kind. Isn't this an example of how incredible nature can be, giving a marine predator such unusual skills? 6 legs, but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs. But here's the twist. They can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. Why do flamingos stand on one leg? Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours, and while it may seem strange, there's a scientific reason. By tucking one leg under their bodies, flamingos conserve energy and retain body heat. This position also reduces muscle fatigue. Scientists even found out that flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without losing balance. Can you imagine being able to stand on one leg for hours? These birds are true masters of balance and relaxation. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of 1 year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from 2 of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. It turns out that in some countries, you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper. making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket, and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Why do lightning bolts often strike the same place? Lightning strikes tend to favor certain spots. For example, Lake Victoria in Africa is one of the most lightning-prone places in the world. Why does this happen? It's due to unique climate conditions that create almost continuous thunderstorms. Warm air rising from the lake's surface meets cooler air currents, triggering constant electrical discharges. Here's what's even more interesting. Lightning can strike the same place several times in a short period, and it's not a myth. Researchers found that high ground conductivity also plays a key role in attracting lightning to specific spots. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's? Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it.